guys, what's up? Welcome to this channel, and today I'm going to share you guys tips for a figure skating show. For reference, I've been skating for almost 7 years now, and I've participated in quite a few shows, both groups and solo, so a lot of these tips are based upon my experiences and what I've learned and stuff that I wish I would have known before I performed in any winter show or spring show, because I mean, starting from December to spring, this kind of the season for skating exhibitions and shows. Like, that's when all the rinks pull out the registrations for winter shows, spring shows, Christmas shows. Like, this is it. So I feel like there's no better time to make this kind of video than now. So I'm gonna stop yapping now and let's just start with those tips, because boy do I have a lot. Tip number 1 is the night before you perform, make sure you prepare your costume, your makeup, your music CDs, and everything else you may need, props. Like, prepare all those stuff, make sure they're ready to just grab and go the night before the performance day. Literally, what I suggest to do is a few days before the performance day, even make a checklist of what you're gonna need. Because the performance day, especially for those who are gonna be performing for the first time, a good thing to know is that performance days are very chaotic. Like, it's not like practice where you're gonna like set an alarm and then you just calmly get ready. No, it's gonna be hectic, it's gonna be crazy. And this is like one of the sports where it's better to be over prepared than wing stuff. Especially with like makeup, because I remember before like the pandemic, in the locker rooms, yes, there will be like, I remember in the locker rooms, skaters and their moms would allow other people to like borrow makeup, borrow eyeshadow, borrow lipstick. But like, ever since with this pandemic, that is most likely not going to be happening now. So like, make sure you have everything. And speaking of makeup, that goes to tip number 2. Make sure that you do your makeup before you leave. I've seen a lot of people in the past who do their makeup like in the like locker room before they perform. Honestly, just do it before you leave the house because you never know what might happen in the rink. Maybe you might be too busy, and as I said, the setting is going to be a hectic day. The rink setting is also pretty crazy, so do it in your house. Is the best I can explain. If you are doing your makeup in the rink because you're performing more than once and your costume requires like another kind of like makeup look, then that makes sense. But if you're just doing one performance, just do it before you leave the house. My other tip is bring a jacket, especially if your costume has short sleeves. The rink is cold. Bring a jacket. Most times you might not be allowed to go outside, so make sure you have your practice jacket handy dandy with you so you can keep up warm. And speaking of warmth, also bring gloves with you. You don't have to wear it in your performance, and even if you cannot wear gloves in the performance, make sure you bring gloves with you anyways, because as I said, you'll never know. You might need it. Nothing is worse than being cold in the rink and you can't move because A, you're not allowed to, or B, because there's no room to really move around. Bring a jacket, bring some gloves. This next tip, I don't know what it is, 4, 5, but anyways, make sure you have a copy of your program. Having a copy of your program gives you a better idea of how to pace yourself. So even if the program doesn't give you time slot specifics on when you'll perform, at least you'll have an idea of when your performance might come soon. Especially if you're not allowed to watch, you may still be able to listen to the music. This next tip is please get there early. Because as I said before, this is one of those sports where it's really better to be over-prepared than winging stuff. Like, especially if you're doing a group number, you do not want to miss your show time because one, most likely you're not going to be allowed to do it again. Like, once you miss it, like, that's it. But if you're in a group, it's that like, if you're absent of the performance, you're gonna most likely make someone mad in your group, okay? Because that means they'll have to block the number. And blocking is just not fun because that means they have to readjust their positions and make all these other readjustments all because of your absence. So make sure you are on there on time. And also, not to mention, usually shows and exhibitions have warm-ups. You do not want to miss your warm-up, basically. Like, I feel like a warm-up kind of sets the tone of how your performance is gonna be. Don't like miss anything. Number 6, I guess, is check your emails from your rink. Especially in the week of your performance, make sure you check every day, like at least twice a day, because your rink would usually around this time send you like when to come, the program to you early, also telling you where to go, where to wait. Speaking of emails, if you know you're gonna be sitting and waiting in a locker room for most of that time, especially if it's a hockey locker room, bring Febreze freshener with you, because let me tell you people something. In one of the rinks I performed a winter show in, they make the skaters wait in the hockey locker rooms. And yes, that is simple, but like, y'all, let me tell you, hockey locker rooms stink. I kid you not, like the smell is something I cannot explain. You have to be there to experience it. But like, I remember the first winter show I was in, a mother literally brought Febreze freshener, sprayed it, and yes, it didn't set in right away, but like, it makes things better. If you know you're gonna be in a hockey locker room or just a locker room in general, bring some Febreze with you. It might save your nose and everyone else who has to wait in that room's nose. Like, yes, you're gonna get used to the smell after a while, but it's just not a good smell, guys. Next tip is gonna be about makeup. Don't go overboard with the makeup. Yes, put on some makeup, but at the same time, try to keep it like kind of natural as well. Tip number 9, or whatever number it is, maybe 10. Especially if the show is like big and has like a lot of program numbers. As you wait in there, take that time to really like get to know other people, because usually I notice when you come at the ring, you're usually there to practice. Like, it's not really like social hour, but in this moment it's actually one of those like social hours. So I say like take a time to like start to get to know people, especially if you're in a group, like get to know your group mates and get to know your coach. Now when I look back at it, a lot of like moments on how I was able to get to know like other people in my rank and meet new people and get to know my coach better was just from waiting. Take that time to advantage on like getting to know other people. Next tip is don't put yourself in the middle. And what I mean by that is like, don't just stand in like the middle of places. Don't just stand in the middle of the lobby. Don't stand in the middle of your locker room, fitting room, or waiting room, or wherever you're waiting in. Don't stand in the middle of your ring. Don't stand in the middle of anywhere. If you need to stand somewhere, stand the sides. You do not want to be in the way of everyone, because coaches will be moving a lot. And you also especially don't want to be in the way of parents who have their little kids. Next tip is bring spare hair accessories with you. Bring spare ponytails, bring spare bobby pins, clips, hairbrush, donut, like, because it doesn't happen frequently, but you never know. Maybe one day you might notice your hairstyle may need an extra bobby pin. Maybe someone else may need to borrow a bobby pin. Maybe your hair elastic might break and you need a ponytail. Not everyone is willing to share their hair stuff or may have the hair stuff to share. So just make sure you play it safe and just bring extra hair stuff with you on the day of your performance, because you never know, you might need it. Most of the time, in my experience, I didn't. Speaking of keeping you busy, bring something with you that will keep you busy. Homework, if you're an artist like me, bring a sketchbook. Because in my experience, in one of the rings I performed in a few years ago, where they had to like make me wait in a locker room for most of the time, the connection is terrible, so I wasn't able to use my phone. And in one of the years I was there, they didn't allow you to use your phone. So like, have something with you to keep you busy. Next tip is don't change anything about your skates less than a week before you perform. Don't get your skates sharpened. Don't get your laces changed. Because here's the thing, especially if you're like new to skating, when you change anything about your skates regarding like laces or sharpening, you're gonna feel off for like at least the first practice with them. So like that means you have to get adjusted, and it'll basically affect your skating, and you don't want anything, and you don't want your skating to be affected on the day of you perform. You want to be your best, basically. So if you know your skates need to be sharpened, or if your laces need to be changed, do that at least like a week or a few weeks, or even the start of the month, like a month before your performance, so that way you don't have to get used to anything the day you have to perform. My last tip for this video is bring water and some small snacks with you, especially if you know your exhibition, your rink is holding is going to be like big and there's going to be like a lot of skaters. That means you're going to be there for hours and usually even then, like when exhibitions, winter shows and all of that, spring shows, they usually shoot my whole day up. So like you're going to get hungry at one point, and if your rink doesn't allow you to leave your locker room or wherever you have to wait, that means you have to make sure you have food with you. So bring a snack, bring some water, because when a skater's gotta eat, a skater's gotta eat. So anyways guys, that is the video. I hope that it was helpful for anybody. Skating shows have always been a fun experience for me, so for anyone who's watching this and they're gonna perform for the first time, don't be scared, because they're usually one of the most best experiences you're gonna get in your skating career. Yeah, good luck to anyone who has to perform soon. If you like this video, give it a like. If you want to see more skating related videos, you should subscribe, because this is basically a skating channel. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Cheerio.